Ken Wilber is preoccupied with labeling everything, in the hope that people will be fooled that labels mean explanation. They don't. Wilber color codes human development according to 8 stages: 1. Beige, archaic, instinctive. 2. Purple, indigenous, animistic. 3. Red, tribal, dominant. 4. Blue, traditional, authoritarian. 5. Orange, science, achievist. 6. Green, postmodern, communitarian. 7. Yellow, lower integral, systemic. 8. Turquoise, higher integral, holistic. Wilber's game is to assert that everyone is right when what he really means is that any person can be assigned, by him and his ilk, to one of the 8 stages listed above. He doesn't say that any of these stages is wrong, or rightly left behind as humanity progresses to higher and better things. Rather, he says that they are all right, compulsory and essential, and they reflect different stages of mental development. So, if he places you in the beige stage, meaning that you have caveman attitudes, then, according to him, you are not wrong but are in fact right, albeit in an extremely primitive way, and you have a vast way to go to become fully developed. We are fully immersed in word games here. To claim that you are right, but exceptionally primitive, and exceptionally far from the optimal state, is, to the rationalist, indistinguishable from saying that you are wrong, that you are backward, retarded, unevolved and irrational. But the love and light New Agers, like Wilber, are never allowed to say the blunt facts, so they have to dress everything up in euphemisms. Wilber replaces the word wrong with the euphemism right but undeveloped. If you fall for this trick, you really are dumb. Wilber calls his system integral and claims it's a theory of everything, so the last thing he wants to do is to go round saying he's right and everyone else is wrong, hardly very integral. And therefore everything has to be dressed up in the language of everyone is right, everyone is part of the solution to the puzzle, everyone is contributing. It's all just a big PR job. In predatory capitalist terms, it's about attempting to maximize your market, embrace everyone, leave no one out, tell everyone they're right, tell everyone they're valued. In reality, every person who buys into Wilber's system sees that the game is to reach stage 8, turquoise integral, or even a more rarefied stage 9, post-integral, indigo or coral. In other words, they recognize that every earlier stage is limited, primitive, wrong. They recognize that there is a right answer, which is stage 8, or stage 9. Wilber's scheme is all about Orwellian doublethink. Orwell wrote, "To know and not to know, to be conscious of complete truthfulness while telling carefully constructed lies, to hold simultaneously 2 opinions which cancelled out, knowing them to be contradictory and believing in both of them, to use logic against logic, to repudiate morality while laying claim to it, to forget whatever it was necessary to forget, then to draw it back into memory again at the moment when it was needed, and then promptly to forget it again, and above all, to apply the same process to the process itself, that was the ultimate subtlety, consciously to induce unconsciousness, and then, once again, to become unconscious of the act of hypnosis you had just performed." Even to understand the word doublethink involved the use of doublethink, the power of holding 2 contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously, and accepting both of them. To tell deliberate lies while genuinely believing in them, to forget any fact that has become inconvenient, and then, when it becomes necessary again, to draw it back from oblivion for just as long as it is needed, to deny the existence of objective reality and all the while to take account of the reality which one denies, all this is indispensably necessary. Even in using the word doublethink, it is necessary to exercise doublethink. For by using the word one admits that one is tampering with reality, by a fresh act of doublethink one erases this knowledge, and so on indefinitely, with the lie always one leap ahead of the truth. Wilber and his gang think they are right and everyone else is wrong, but they also have an image of themselves as enlightened, inclusive, tolerant, loving, caring, compassionate, anti-authoritarian, open-minded people who would never under any circumstances behave like authoritarian, totalitarian religious fanatics and extremists, who shout down others and bully them, who demand unswerving loyalty to doctrine and death for all heretics, infidels, freethinkers, apostates and blasphemers. Yet the hilarious thing is that Wilber's movement is filled to the brim with heretics, infidels and apostates regarding his own teachings. A guy called Frank Visser, once Wilber's greatest admirer, now runs a site that makes the hatchet job seem an insufficiently bloody term for the destructiveness of his anti-Wilber project. Daggers are being plunged not just into Wilber's back, but all over his body. As is plain to everyone, except perhaps himself, Visser is now a fundamentalist scientific materialist, so why he runs a site called Integral World is a mystery to all. His sole desire is to destroy Wilber and promote extreme materialism. How very non-integral. Visser is saying everyone is wrong, except the scientific materialists, who, in his opinion, are totally right. Yet Visser has simply brought to light the truth of Wilber's project, that integral is impossible, that no one on earth actually believes that everyone is right. You have to take a stance. You have to assert the truth, with a capital T, and defend it utterly. You can't go around saying that people who disagree with you are right. That's just insane. If they're right, then you're wrong. 1 + 1 = 2. Wilber and his gang are hoist with their own petard. They are exactly like the love and lighters. In a world of ever-increasing hate, the love and lighters say that unconditional love is the answer to everything, and then they hate on everyone who disagrees with them. Love and lighters are some of the most vicious trolls and worst fanatics in the world. The Wilber gang have this romantic idea of themselves as great healers and sages, raising up humanity. That delusional self-image precludes them from being preachers standing in the pulpit separating the goats from the sheep, announcing the elect and the damned, providing the lists of prescription naming those to be dispatched to hell and perdition. That, of course, is deep down what they are actually like, but they have to play this weird game of being nice because they have decided that this is much more important than the truth. As we see with Visser, it doesn't take too long for the masks to slip. The integral community is jam-packed with civil wars and bitter Stalinist denunciations and show trials. These people are all absolutely infected with their shadow, and projecting it everywhere. They are faced with a fundamental contradiction: the truth is not nice, yet they have to pretend it is. The truth is in fact stark, cold, pure, adamantine, unyielding, uncompassionate, and heedless of what people think of it. You cannot simultaneously proclaim the truth and also tell everyone how right they are, to show how nice and inclusive you are. The truth is literally inhuman since it existed before a single human did. The enemies of the truth are not right. They are emphatically wrong. They are blocking humanity's evolution. We denounce the Wilberites. They are absolute opponents of the truth. They are irrationalists, one and all. They openly claim that rationalism can be transcended. It cannot. There are only two games in town: rationalism and irrationalism. That's logic 101. You either commit to rationalism, or you oppose it. 1 + 1 = 2. To a rationalist, the trans-rationalists are just more deluded versions of pre-rationalists, and even more dangerous and obstructive. The original irrationalists, the pre-rationalists, did not have the benefit of rationalism and its awesome power. The trans-rationalists, however, have seen what rationalism offers and then rejected it in favor of delusional, mystical nonsense and absurdity. They are actually dumber than the pre-rationalists. And that's saying something. They are atavistic retards trying to dress up old superstition as the highest modern wisdom. The Wilberites are feeling types and mystical intuitives who just don't get reason and logic. That's why they're so lost, so caught up in their idiotic webs of irrational fantasy. Don't get caught up in spiral madness. We always laugh at spiral dynamics. To destroy spiral dynamics, you just need to replace the spiral with a triangle and place level orange, rationalism, at the apex. So, several human developmental stages lead up to rationalism, the apex of human thinking. Then, instead of perfecting rationalism, via ontological mathematics based on the PSR and Occam's razor, the idiots, The subjectivists, relativists, postmodernists, New Agers, cosmic consciousness gang, the bare awareness advocates, the non-dualism mystics, take over and start taking thought back to total primitivism. So, we have pre-rationalism on one side of the triangle, ancient religion, faith, emotionalism, superstition and mysticism, rationalism at the apex of the triangle, and then post-rationalism on the other side of the triangle, modern spirituality, faith, emotionalism, postmodernism, superstition, mysticism, relativism and subjectivism. The religious and spiritual types can't bear rationalism, so actually have to go back, to come back down from the summit of reason and logic. They don't like it there, where no one gets to bullshit. Ken Wilber's laughable idea is that reason can be transcended. If you actually think about that for a moment, you will understand that anyone opposed to reason is actually advocating unreason. To transcend reason is no different from being in the pre-reason state. In each case, you are relying on unreason. The only difference is that you are telling yourself different stories to justify your unreason. Ken Wilber is a Buddhist, not an Abrahamist, so he tells himself Buddhist stories. These are no less irrational than the stories of Abrahamism. A Roman Catholic would no doubt argue that trans-rationalism involves partaking in the beatific vision, the eternal and direct perception of God, seeing God face to face, the ultimate direct self-communication of God to the individual person. The divine essence is known immediately, by perfect intuitive vision. The divine essence shows itself plainly, clearly and openly, unmediated. God is beheld clearly one and triune, as he is in himself. Once you have departed from reason, you can tell yourself whatever story you like. One irrational tale is as irrational and self-serving as another.